Hello, 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 hello. Ooh, ooh, ooh. My name is Patrick. This is the Higher Fish. Welcome to my channel. I'm assuming you're not new, but if you are new, welcome. And if you aren't new, then welcome. To everyone out there, welcome. Oh, I can slide this right here because that's the only thing I ever use. The only thing I ever use. What's at the bottom of the deck? Ooh, the sun. It's in reverse for y'all though. It's upright for me. I wanted to use the energy oracle cards because I haven't used these in a minute. Oh wow, the sun and the journey. Now the journey would also be in reverse for you, but it's upright for me. Should I turn these all upright? Nah. Why do that? Why make it easy on them? How are y'all doing today? I am doing. Um, my body is sore. Yesterday it's like my lungs hurt for some reason, or my ribs hurt. Now I used to get bronchitis like every time the seasons changed because I have allergy-induced asthma, or I had allergy-induced asthma. That would be so bad I would get bronchitis like every time the seasons changed, and it was not pretty. Um, One second. It wasn't pretty. Yeah, girl. So ladies and gentlemen and gender non-conforming folks, or non-binary folks. Yeah, ladies, gentlemen, and the non-binary, because here we try to make this space open and accessible to all. Um, oh, I should have flipped the camera. Oh well. What am I talking about today? I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm just going with it. Yeah, yeah. So my lungs, I've had bronchitis like a lot in the past, but usually it's like my chest will hurt from coughing so much, and not just my lungs from coughing. But yesterday and today it's a little better. But it felt like my lungs or my rib cage or something. I don't know. Maybe my heart is expanding, and so it's like I don't know, girl. Sometimes you just wake up and things are a little so. Last night I had a very interesting nightmare. A very, very, very interesting nightmare. That it was kind of sort of a dream, but just like very shocking. I have two brothers that I live with or have lived with. Ew, my mouth is very wet right now for some reason, and yeah. And so when I dream of them, there's one brother that I'm always protecting, and another brother that's always causing trouble, always. Um, and so last night I had a dream about the brother that I always protect, and something ended up happening, and I couldn't protect him, and it was very interesting. And then there was like a whole thing, girl. I don't know. It's like I was leading people or taking people somewhere or training people or guiding people or doing something with people. I don't remember. All I remember is the initial shock. And then I think I woke up after that. And I kind of sort of did one of those things where I check what time it is, and then I hope I'm up long enough that, when I go back to sleep, that I have a completely different dream, because that's not a dream that I want to have. But it kind of sort of played off of each other. And also, I think I saw. So the person that made me mad, ooh, judgment, a few dreams ago, like really, really, really mad. And he was like, "You don't even know like why I was upset with you, do you?" And I was like, "You know what? Honestly, I don't too much care because now I'm mad. So I'm not really trying to hear you right now or ever. You're dead to me." Um, but he was in my dream. But this time we were like, we ended up meeting up somewhere and like working together or something. I don't know. It was very weird. So let's get into one of these, and then I'll get into some kawaiis, and we'll see what's up. Actually, let's do a little past, present, future. Maybe not. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's way too much. We'll see. We'll see how many cards I have. Ooh, 4, which is exactly what I wanted to be working with. Let's see. Let's just do one of these. Shall we? We'll go counterclockwise. No. Yeah, we'll go counterclockwise. And we do have some reversals in here, so that's why I'm like flipping the deck. Let's start at the bottom. Perfect. I love when things just like work, you know what I mean? But yeah, I've had some interesting dreams. My body is sore. I don't know why. It's like I did a little bit of something the other day. A little bit. A little bit. And I wake up so. Wait, I haven't had any water yet today. Let me do that. Because I feel myself dehydrating already. Ooh, sparklies. Hold on, wait, I said counterclockwise. Why am I about to go clockwise? And, ooh, I see you, Empress. She said, I don't need nobody else. Okay. That's in reverse for y'all, though. It's upright for me. This Queen of Cups is upright for me, but it's in reverse for y'all. 1 second. Let me grab this water. Oof. But yeah, and it literally happened at the beginning of the dream. Like the beginning of the dream. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, what is happening? Like, I'm like, why is this happening? Why has this happened? But then at a, like, in a separate dream, but at a later part, I don't know if I was thinking about how I could have saved him or if I had actually did. Honestly, it could have been an inside job. Because, like, there was no body at the end of it. And it was like, what? I don't know, y'all. It was very, very weird. Oh, I just saw the 10 of Pentacles, but it didn't come all the way out, so we didn't take it. Ooh, y'all got the world upright, though. It's in reverse for me, but it's upright for y'all. I think that was the only card that flipped over. I haven't used either of these really lately. I remember when I first got the kawaiis, I was like, oh my gosh, I love these, I'm so obsessed. I remember when I first got the vice versa, I was like, oh my gosh, I love these, I'm so obsessed. Y'all remember those times? Ooh, the 6 of Cups is upright for y'all too. Okay, so I actually do kind of sort of want to do it this side, that side. Kind of, sort of. Also, I want some food. I want some FOOD. What was that? We ain't even get started and some card already want to try to flip over. Ooh, that's 7 of Wands. Okay, so the 7 of Wands for me as a reader is a card of advantage. But if you don't keep doing the work, it can quickly turn into a disadvantage. The 7 of Wands for me, to perfectly sum it up, is the hare in the race of the tortoise and the hare. There's no way you shouldn't win. There's no way you shouldn't be victorious. But if you get complacent and lazy, if you fall asleep at the end of the race because you think you have time, you will lose. And then the 2 of Wands. Let's see if I can use one more. Watch like 5 cards come out. Nope, that's it. Oh, girl. Let's see. Plastic. Y'all remember that episode of SpongeBob with the doubloons when they was playing that one game that was based on a real treasure map? Oh, it's only 2 more cards. Okay, that's not bad. The Wheel of Fortune and the High Priestess, I believe. Both in reverse for you, but a fright for me. Are y'all getting annoyed every time I say that now? I'm kind of getting annoyed with myself. With the Four of Wands in reverse. This is interesting because the Four of Wands in reverse and the Seven of Wands upright literally just came out on top of Growing Abundance in a video that I recorded to put on my Legacy channel. Now, there was something I was going to say in the video that I didn't say. And I guess since both of these came out on Blossoming Abundance, I'll go ahead and I will reference them now. So, Blossoming Abundance is amazing and it's great, but it came out with the... Basically, what came out is that we're not seeing things accurately. Our third eyes are being cleared up, but there's still some stuff that maybe we're stuck in some ways that we can't necessarily comprehend, and it's because we're not sort of focused on the right things when it comes to whatever. And with the Blossoming Abundance coming out upright, and the 6th chakra Archangel Metatron also came upright. Well, he was like upright or in reverse. He was a moment of like, I don't know. He ended up being upright in the end. But then we have the Goddess of the Moon in reverse. So it's like we're not really focused on the inside of things, we're focused more on the outside of things, right? And when you're focused on the outside, it's almost like you'll never really, truly, fully see things the way that they are because you're always looking at how they manifest on the outside. And things can manifest on the outside in a certain way for any number of reasons. And so I was going to ask the question, have you ever... Oh my gosh, I feel like I introduced this, but I didn't actually finish talking about it over there, which is completely fine because that's the Legacy channel, right? This is the Hierophant. This is where I actually give myself permission to just go there. So it's like, have you ever sort of found yourself, whenever you feel like you do the most healing and the most internal growing and growth, that it's like it seems like everything on the outside slows down, right? Like you may not necessarily be as abundant or not as this or not as that, but then when things begin to pick up, when that abundance starts to come in, you kind of sort of get lost in it. And when you get lost in the abundance, we kind of sort of neglect all of that inner work that got us that abundance in the first place. But what devil energy will come in and do is keep you distracted with more abundance. And so on one hand, it is the abundance that you've already put in the work for. But on the other hand, at some point when you come outside of yourself and when you do get wrapped up in the things and in the growth and in the expansion, more wrapped up in that than in continuing your work, then that's when you sort of enter the territory of that devil energy. Oh, snap. Trent's birthday is tomorrow. I should have known he was a Cancer. That's been me all Cancer season. Oh, I should have known this person was a Cancer. I should have known that person was a Cancer. I mean, but I guess at that time, why would I have known that? But yeah. And so it may come to the point where it's like where you're actually doing that internal work, when you're actually making that growth and that progress, then all of a sudden, like, the abundance is gone or things start to slow down. And if you use the outside and if you use abundance as a metric for your internal growth, then it may be very confusing. But if you're always focused in the right places, then the appearance of things on the outside has less of an effect on your actual growth, right? And it honestly feels like nowadays, more so than ever, spirit and the devil are kind of sort of working hand in hand, right? Because spirit needs us to change in certain ways, and spirit needs us to grow, and devil energy is very, very good for coming in and causing problems and causing trouble and wreaking havoc and stuff like that. But it's also, again, like if your focus isn't in the right place, it's a distraction. It's a distractor. And so I would say that, like, if you are coming into a space of doing your work in a way that works works for you truly, then don't allow yourself to be distracted by the limit of the flow of abundance coming in, because everything on the outside is a distraction anyway, and both forces have access to the outside realms. Kind of sort of the devil more so than the light, because the light is more so focused on the inside, and the devil comes in on the outside to tempt you away from what's on the inside, right? But yeah, everything I needed to say is in there. I'm not going to necessarily get too much further into that. So here, if I do this thing where this is sort of the wind at our back, we have, oh, ooh, this is actually pretty cute. This is in reverse. What's in reverse? The Angel of Balance is in reverse for y'all. This is number 48, which is a 12, which is a 3. The 1 and 2 make 3. 3 is a catalytic number. A catalyst, again, is something that can change something else, but it in and of itself is not changed. 1 is a number of beginnings. 2 is a number of that balance and duality. So with the 1 and the 2, it's like everything that is going to change has already begun to change. But now it's time for you to change in accordance with that, right? It's like things aren't necessarily going to slow down just because you're not ready. And so things may pass you by. But I'm going to go in and I'm going to read this Angel of Balance to see what she says. Let me not speak for her. Let her speak for herself. This was 48. But yeah, also with the 1 and 2 to give the 3, it could be a shift in duality, where we're moving from one pole to another. That's the 1 and the 2 to make the 3. That would be the change in you. But again, like that movement is already happening. That's why it's catalytic. That's why it's the catalyst, right? Because regardless of if you're ready or not, the changes are coming. And either they'll wash over you, throw you up against a rock or a wall or a building or whatever. If you ain't riding it, it is what it is. Being centered and self-honoring in your choices. Ooh, being self-honoring in your choices. I love that, and I never would have gotten that from the Angel of Balance. So I'm already glad I'm reading this. The reverse meeting. In this position, the Angel of Balance comes with a loving warning that something may be seriously out of proportion in your life. It can be an important emotional component, such as the lack of self-acceptance or self-care. Remember, however, that when you put yourself last, the universe will do likewise. Receiving this card reversed can oftentimes be a warning of lost energy, calling you to relax more, sleep more, or even just drink more water. All of that stuff I need to do. Investigate how you may be out of balance in your time and energy regarding the externals and internals in your life. The adjacent cards in your spread could indicate the particulars. Perhaps you've been working too much or been too obsessed with relationships or money. This loving angel can help bring you the courage and wisdom you need to break such toxic patterns. Meditate on the angel's presence and visualize her pouring a beautiful liquid light through all of your chakras, balancing them and bringing you peace. Remember that you always have power to bring things back into peaceful balance. The affirmation here is, I live a balanced and centered life. As I care for myself, the universe cares for me also. So, yeah, pretty much everything I was saying, which is confirmation for why I brought it up again. Make sure you're focused on the right things. If you're focused more on the external than the internal, or if you are using your internal as a metric to judge your internal, did I say that right? If you're using the external as a metric and to judge your internal, you're not looking at things the right way. It's always inside out, right? It's always more effective inside out. And since this did say put yourself first, it's always inside out. Whenever you go outside in, that's putting somebody else first, which works for some things, but now it's time for you to put yourself first. And also, this may just be my own personal little whatever, my own personal little hang up. I don't think Lulu has released the Pisces video yet for this month, and I'm looking forward to that. From House of Ocean. I love her. She'd be like, whatever. Moving forwards. Um, moving forward. Keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. Oh, I should watch that movie again. I said that last time, and I still haven't watched it. So the cards around this are actually. Let's go ahead and just do this. This is Readception. Uh-huh. So this is the wind at your back pushing you forward. The wind at your back pushing you forward is this Angel of Balance in reverse. Probably potentially saying that as long as you continue to look outside of yourself, things won't work. But see, it gets very tricky. Because again, with that blossoming abundance upright, but the Four of Wands in reverse, Seven of Wands upright. But that's all over here. So it's like we need to keep that in mind, yes, but we also need to look at this as its own thing. So we can do both. So when it comes to the challenge, or when it comes to the wind at your back, the wind behind the wind at your back is this World card, which speaks to completion. Here's another 21, another 213, right? Or a 123. And then we have the Page of Cups upright as sort of what we're reaching for, and the Six of Cups as the challenge. Now, what we're reaching for is this return to innocence, but it's an emotional innocence and a purity of connection to the divine, to other people, to everything, right? And the challenge on our back with the Six of Cups is not getting so focused on how things were in the past. I think a lot of times, if you really, truly, fully believed that the best of your days have yet to come, you wouldn't put so much weight in the past. And maybe that's another thing that we need to rework our understanding of. Because a lot of times when we want to feel something good, we go to an experience that we've already had, because a lot of people can't reach into an experience that they haven't had and feel good. So you look on the last time things were good, and it's always in the past. But when you really come into the understanding of the light of the universe and the love of the universe, you would realize that your best days are still ahead of you. And so then you can begin to tap into happiness and joy and love that you haven't even yet experienced. And since, this is my channel, I'm going to interject my own experiences. That's very much so the point that I was in last February. So almost a year and a half ago. A year and a half. Almost. Yeah. Almost a year and a half ago, girl. What is time? Time is an illusionary construct. Almost a year and a half ago. Almost. So that was when I could tap into so much love and abundance and joy that I had never personally experienced up until that point, that it put me in this future space. And I wasn't limiting all of that to something that I've already experienced. And since I wasn't limiting it to the past, I was able to see and peer into a future that was so much brighter than my heart knew what to do with. I literally cried tears of happy tears from something that I hadn't even yet experienced. And that's really coming into that's what we should be reaching for with that Page of Cups. Because when you tap into the purity of that connection, it can lead you towards these spaces that you don't necessarily have a experience to tie to the feeling yet. But everything is quantum, right? And then again, at the same time, it allows you to come outside. It's like this is this point of contention. There's a contention point here. Because with the world, it's taking us out of the past, but with the Six of Cups, it's putting us back into the past. So stop looking at the things that you used to have and focus more on the things that you can still have, the things that have yet to come, and work towards getting that, right? We've already completed those cycles. Anything in the past is gone. Whatever you thought you left behind there, it's gone. Even if it's a person that you're supposed to come back with, that version of you that things didn't work with, it's gone. The version of them where things didn't work out with, hopefully, it's gone, right? We're coming to know each other in the purity of who we are. Yeah, yeah. We're coming to know each other in the purity of who we are in a way that we weren't necessarily before. And that's what this angel of balance is, again, it's coming in to do. It's coming to shift things the right way. So some things may get completely flipped on their head. Some things may just get like turned around. It's all about finding the perspective and the angle that gets these things to fit in a way that is most cohesive for everyone. But it's most cohesive for everyone when everyone is satisfied. And for everyone to be satisfied, you have to be satisfied. So when you care primarily about you being at your best for you, you will be at your best for others. Now, I'm flipping all of them like this because, oh, the Ten of Pentacles! Girl, this energy is so beautiful. You got the World, the Page of Cups, the Six of Cups, and the Ten of Pennies. Now, the Ten of Pennies is the ground that you stand on. Actually, for y'all, this is, I'm going to try to keep this in mind. Which of these looks like an L? I guess I can't. I would have to flip my hands this way. Girl, I don't know. This is my left, but it looks like it's on the right of the screen. And this is, yeah, so it's flipped this way. I have to remember that. So we're actually going to be starting with the challenge coming your way. Because this is the right side of the screen for you. So this is this. Girl, oh, see, I'm confusing myself. Just read it how it is to you, but flip the cards for them. Okay. So I'm going to read it how it is for me, but flip the cards for you. Which makes these upright instead of in reverse. Because to me, they look like they're in reverse. And to me, this being in reverse is like, this is energy that you had access to a long time ago. And that's the thing about divine timing. Divine timing is less about the minute, hour, second, and day it's supposed to happen, and more about you coming into the point where you allow it to happen and where you align with it. Now, if you're always waiting, divine timing may never come for you. Because divine timing, it's about us making ourselves ready to receive it. Right? And the way you speed up divine timing is by doing that work on yourself and getting to whatever point you need to get get it. The way that you slow down divine timing is by waiting. Because it's not about the minute, hour, or second of the day. Right? So the ground that you're standing on is this Ten of Pentacles. So it seems like this Angel of Balance has been working on you for a minute. It's been working on you for a while, and that's why it's the wind at your back, right? It's propelling you forward. So you have this Ten of Pentacles energy at your disposal, but I feel like you're misattributing it. It's like it's a misattribution. And it almost feels like with you so focused on the past, you are keeping certain things alive that don't need to be kept. Right? Anything meant for you beyond this point is already beyond this point. Anything meant for you has already proceeded with you. Maybe not exactly side by side, but don't be afraid of closing this door or closing this chapter, because anything meant to move forward with you has already been written into the next chapter, right? That's how books work. It's already written into the next chapter. You can finish that page, you can turn that page, and when it comes back, you'll make it to the page where it comes back. Now, the Six of Cups is also a challenge, right? Well, I feel like that is the challenge. The challenge is that nostalgia. That challenge is looking back and being focused more on maybe how you met up in the past rather than how you can proceed forward in a way that aligns more with what you actually want. And that's what this Angel of Balance is all about. It's about moving forward in a way that you actually want, right? Now, if we look at sort of the ground that we're standing on, because I guess that was the last one, again in reverse, we have envy. I love envy in reverse. Don't be mad. Don't be jealous. Anything anyone else has, you can have too, if it's for you. Now, you have the Emperor and the Queen of Cups in reverse. I wouldn't necessarily say this is third party energy, but girl, the Emperor should be with an Empress, and she ain't an Empress. So maybe she tried to impress this Emperor to become his Empress, but it ain't work. The Empress is all the way over here. They're both in reverse for you though, which is fine. But the ground that we stand on, envy in reverse. I'm actually gonna read this. The envy card and the hostilities card are kind of sort of similar, but with hostilities, like, you definitely see it. Envy is something that a lot of times happens behind closed doors, and this is number 20. Last time I saw the envy card, it felt like someone was envious of themselves in the past, though. Or that was one of the things that envy could have been, is like you're envious of who you were in the past or what you had in the past, and you're trying to get back there, but you can't get back there. So this is an interesting tie here, but it's like you'd be less envious if you knew that like this was coming back for you, or you just hating on somebody else. Envy is lack and dissatisfaction. Dissatisfaction was what primarily drove that Goddess of the Moon in reverse. You're so dissatisfied in your own inner world that it's causing you to not receive accurately the guidance that you have inside of you. So, this card reversed heralds a great time of joy and appreciation. And appreciation was the bottom. Girl, we don't even know what's on the bottom this time. Let's see what's on the bottom. The bottom of the deck is the Magician. No, what's this? Fifth chakra, Archangel Gabriel. That's that throat. That throat. Who was that? Wow, that throat is upright at the bottom of the deck. So now is a time for communication, right? It's like, what do they say? A closed mouth doesn't get fed. So how are you envious of somebody else and what somebody else has when you're not even speaking? Number one, you may not even be doing the work that you need to do to get whatever somebody else has. And I've been seeing and reading so often lately. And every time I see it, I'm just over it. It's like karmics and envy and jealousy and like black magic is starting to come back again. And it's like, girl, if it ain't been working for you yet, it ain't gonna work now. Like, what you mad for? Just do it. And you can't copy someone else and get that connection. I don't necessarily think anybody is envious of me necessarily, but again, I don't necessarily too much care. Um, I'm the type of person where I don't really devote time or energy to people that like if you're envious of me, that's something that you need to work through on your part, and I don't necessarily have to help you do that. So like that's a you problem, not a me problem. Um, but I don't know. It's just been real interesting. It's like nothing that I have can't be obtained or attained. It's like everybody want to be envious of the end product, but no one wants to do the work to get there. It's like, okay, and that ain't just me in particular. Like that's just how I view it. Like that's just, it just is what it is. A lot of people envy success and they envy fortune and stuff like this, but what they don't envy is all of the work that it took to get there. What they don't envy is all of the work that it takes to stay there, and what they don't envy is all of the failures that come before you hit that success. You just looking at the end product, looking on the outside, when in reality, you could have something within you that's even bigger, brighter, and better. than what you see on the outside, but you would never know that or tap into that because that's not where you're focused. But that's not what this is about. This envy is in reverse. This card reversed heralds a great time of joy and appreciation. Your choice to shift your focus from future longing to present gratitude creates a significant difference in your energy field and moves out in a dramatic and radiant way to attract more to you. You know that you can keep your eye on future goals without losing sight of your present gifts. So continue to release any old feelings of envy or lack whenever those thoughts or emotions come up. You are well on your way to a completely gratifying life, and your genuine acknowledgement of the value within and around you will only keep drawing more value to you. I'm surprised the door to value was in here. The affirmation here is, I let go of lack. I look at the blessings in my life with joy and satisfaction. I am glad. And then we have the Emperor and the Queen of Cups here. Now, I actually think we're going to step away from that whole third party thing because I'm not necessarily a fan of that. I'm not. But with this Emperor and this Queen of Cups, I feel like this Queen of Cups has actually given me wannabe High Priestess vibes, where it's like with this Emperor, and they're both in reverse. This goes back to kind of sort of what I was saying earlier, I feel like, in the video that I haven't uploaded yet. So after I finish this, I'm going to go ahead and upload it to my Legacy channel. But it's like you're not seeing things. Yeah, this is what came out first. So I guess this is going to be that, but going a little bit more in depth. Because Archangel Metatron, the 6th chakra, came up. And it was like, you're not looking at things the way that they need to be seen in order to get you where you want to go. You have this misconception, this missight that is causing you to do things for you that don't actually benefit you because you're not looking at them in the way that you need to be looking at them. And so you're doing all these things that you think should be working, but they're not working. And maybe somebody was getting a little envious because from the way I see it, I see envy upright. Y'all see envy in reverse. So maybe y'all think y'all ain't envious. You think you're not jealous, but you constantly keep saying things like, oh, I wish I had that person's gift. I wish I had what they have. I wish I had this person's that. I wish I had that person's this. It's like you're looking outside of yourself, longing for the things that other people have. This is a very covetous energy. But in reality, like everything that's come out today it's like there are these distortions that are caused from looking outside when you need to be looking inside. And then we have the heart here with Raphael. So I've seen the 7th chakra, the 6th chakra, and now the 5th chakra today. And I believe 6 is up here with Metatron, right? No. Where was Metatron? I thought Metatron came out. Maybe not. Anyway, I've seen 7, 6, and 5 today now. Uriel, Metatron, and Raphael. Uriel, Metatron, Raphael. Metatron is like one of the few really big archangels whose name doesn't end in L. I guess there are a few other ones, but like you hear about Michael or Mikael, I guess. Mikael. I remember I was watching some show and they would call it like Mikael or something like that. Raphael. Rafa. What is Rafa? Mikael, Raphael, Uriel, Ariel, Gabriel or Gabriel. A lot of them end in L. Like the Elohim or whatever. Anyway. With the Emperor and the Queen of Cups, this Queen of Cups to me, it's feeling like an incomplete vision. It's like you are intuitive, but you're not High Priestess intuitive. You're too wrapped up in yourself and in your emotions and how you feel about yourself. Honestly, there doesn't feel like there's a lot of self-love here. And this Angel of Balance, being the wind at our back, is bringing us the self-love to really begin to turn this up right? When you don't love yourself, you're going to look at you're going to look outside of yourself for some kind of comfort or validation because you don't like what you find on the inside. It's natural. But the angel of balance is like not necessarily about what's natural. It's about, what needs to be done. But again, with this emperor and with this queen of cups, it's like you didn't have the full truth of the information. You only had bits and pieces of things that you would intuit or gather. But if you have a major here, you need a major here to balance it. So usually in everyday terms, I would say the Queen of Cups is perfectly fine. The Queen of Cups is you knowing everything that you need to know intuitively to move you to where you want to be. The High Priestess is like, you know everything, right? Even the things that you don't know why you know, or even the things that you don't yet have a context to the knowledge of having, you know, right? Or you can get the information. You're just that connected, right? But with the Emperor and the Queen of Cups, it's like you're making these grand decisions based off of limited information. And I am a person who values intuition, but this ain't even the Queen of Swords where it's like factual information. This is just like feelings. You're allowing your feelings to get you to do all kinds of stuff that you ain't necessarily want to do. And girl, like I said, Clarinda, how long have you been there? Oh, for like a minute. Hey, Clarinda. Hi. I'm not necessarily looking at my computer, so that's the thing about having a camera here and the cards in front of me while my computer is like off to the side, so I literally never had to look at it. But hi, hello. I don't know why this is feeling like so karmic, but with this envy, I feel like comes like I said, like black magic. Excuse me. And I guess I kind of sort of want to clarify that black magic may not necessarily always have to be something done in a ritualistic sense, right? Magic and manifestation is something that we do with our intention. And it gets dark whenever we envy what someone else has, because then it's like with our little energetic hands, we're reaching into someone else's pocket instead of reaching into the vast void of abundance available to everybody. It's like, why are you reaching your little energetic hand in my back pocket when you can literally exert the same amount of effort into the vast void of the potentiality of everything and get something that you actually want that's actually for you? Like, why are you in my pocket when you literally have this whole stack of gold just standing there, and I got like $2 in my wallet, and you can like literally just grab one of these gold bricks and be perfectly satisfied. All good. Okay. How are you doing today? Did I ask that? How are you doing? Again, so it doesn't necessarily, and the Four of Wands is in reverse for y'all, so it's upright for me. Let me stop. But yeah, it doesn't necessarily always have to be something done necessarily intentional. But what it will do is it will set you back even further. Either way, it'll set you back. Um, but yeah, that's this Emperor and this Queen of Cups. It's like you're making this. You're just like not using your power the way, in its most effective way. And I love that they both have the same expression, but the Emperor has a strike through his crown. I don't know if I'm trying not to push this thing over. That's the Queen. The Emperor has that strike through his crown, which would be fine, but I feel like it's just like you're not using it properly. Not using it in the way that it could be. Not sleepy. 3:39 a.m. Oh my gosh. Not sleeping. Girl, go to bed. Go to bed. Maybe you'll listen to my voice and fall asleep. But with cards like this, I don't know. This is feeling a little nasty. It's honestly feeling a little nasty. But there's such a, like, I don't feel like it's necessarily malicious though. I know I'm talking kind of strongly and my tone is very pointed, but it doesn't necessarily feel malicious. Like, it feels like a very innocent envy. I don't know if envy can be like innocent. It is innocent. It's very much that child that goes to their parents and they're like, everyone else has this and everyone else has that. Why can't I? Like, why don't I have this? Why don't I have that? And a lot of times, what children do is they will, when children look outside themselves and when children look at what everyone else has and when they don't have it, and if their parents don't have a means to get it for them, what they'll do is they'll internalize that as some messed up sense of like self-worth. Because again, and this is, I love this because this is a kind of sort of, to me, it's a perfect tie to that I third eye chakra, that blossoming abundance, and that goddess of the moon in reverse. It's the perfect tie. Because a child won't look and see, okay, my parents aren't necessarily in a financial space to get me the things that I want, and me not getting the things that I want right now in this moment is in no means a measure of my value or my worth. It's just simply like there's a lack of funds right now. It doesn't, like adults even do this, right? These types of mentalities, they're lifelong. Um, but yeah, a kid doesn't look and say like, oh, like we just don't have the money for it. They'll look at themselves a type of way and they'll feel bad about themselves. They'll get down on themselves that everyone else has this and everyone else has that and all the popular kids are like doing this and I can't have it. So something's wrong with me. I hate my life. Like my worth is super low. My whatever, my whatever, my whatever. And that's kind of sort of the space of this envy. I don't think it's necessarily intentionally malicious. It just comes from a lack of self love. I mean, all envy does come from a lack of self love, but some envy is like especially malicious. You know what I mean? What's happening with the cards? Oof, Clorinda. I've done these two. So this is just, it is what it is. I wanted to use these decks because I haven't used them in a while. And I want to use cards I haven't used in a while, right? Instead of always getting new. It's like I'm always getting new cards, but then I just kind of sort of default back to the ones that I've had. Anyway, so over here, the wind at our back, the winds of change at our back, propelling us forward, is the Angel of Balance in reverse. The Angel of Balance in reverse is basically telling us that we're looking more at the outside than we are on the inside, and the Angel of Balance is coming in to give us self-love, self-acceptance, self-appreciation, all of that self stuff. Because we may be making, in the past, we may have made choices that don't actually serve our own interests because, we don't care about ourselves, honestly. And then around this, we have the World card, which speaks to completion, energies of completed cycles, closed karmic chapters, pushing us forward in this space of already pushing us forward. But holding us back is this sort of idealism of the past. And we're not letting the past go because we think that the best of what we've ever experienced, or there's some truth. We think that the best that we will ever experience is in the past, and that's why we're so focused on the past. Right? If we truly believed that better days are coming, we would be more so excited for our future than looking for something in the past to come in and substitute whatever. The ground that this is standing on is the Ten of Pentacles. So there is an accurate feeling of all of the things possible coming. Everyone's been feeling the Wheel of Fortune turning. What we're reaching for is this reclaimed innocence with this Page of Cups. Because when we reclaim that innocence, it purifies our connection with spirit. That gets us to see things in ways that are truer to how they actually are, or it gets us to see things in the ways of like growing us and healing us and stuff like that. Now, it's interesting that this Great Challenge is here. Kind of sort of, I haven't seen what this is yet, but it is what it is. This is the wind on our back. Moving down here is envy in reverse, which is all about learning to see our own internal value, not looking outside of ourselves, and it opens so many doors of value because we're finally focused on the right things. So, yes, that's where we are right now. And then this Emperor and this Queen of Cups, at first I was like, is this a third party? Because the Emperor should be with an Empress and the Queen should be with the King. But with this envy in reverse, I'm more so feeling that like in the past, we were making huge decisions. We were basically misusing or not using our own power because of whatever incompetencies we felt or whatever sort of lack of self love with that Queen of Cups in reverse. Or we just pour out more than we sort of give to ourselves. Either way, it keeps us in a space. It keeps us from receiving and moving towards the things that we need to receive. And I've just been talking about this envy and how it could be sort of malicious and vicious, but ultimately, I feel like it stems from a lack. I mean, all envy stems from a lack mentality, but there's something that we're not seeing like in the way that we need to see. Now, moving forward to the challenge coming our way is a card that's upright. Finally, oof! But I don't know if this is a good card. Indecision, number 8. It's upright though, right? At least it's upright. Indecision, girl. Indecision with the Empress in reverse and a card face down. I'll read Indecision first. I'll fill into the Empress and then we'll see if this adds on. I'm about to go in there and use some more of them spices because I'm craving something nices. Why is the... So I just opened up to strategy, which is making a plan. Upright, this card shows a pen, journal, compass, and key. When you receive this card upright, it indicates that this is the optimum time for setting up a very specific strategy for achieving your goals. That's all I'm going to read. I don't know why it was on strategy because I wasn't reading strategy, but it felt semi-relevant. So maybe someone needs to really like, instead of strategizing, it's like you really need to sit down and like kind of sort of write out the pros and cons of you so you can see some things, or maybe ask other people to do it too. I don't know. Also, another thing that came out is that like people inspiring us to make changes is great, but ultimately at the end of the day, we kind of sort of need to do it for ourselves. But it is also okay, it is very much so okay if you need to use someone outside of yourself to motivate you to begin doing this healing to get you to the point where you can do it for yourself. There's absolutely no shame in that. At the end of the day, it's kind of sort of whatever it takes to get you to the space of healing is what it takes to get you to the space of healing. So, yes. And you came in later. So, hey, the cards were already on the table before you came in. Maybe it was always meant for you to see. I think this is kind of sort of going through the collective in general right now too, um, especially while things have been slowed down for some people. But again, like there are other people, like so many people have gotten houses and like have moved and gotten new jobs, and I'm like, oof. Also, a lot of people have lost their jobs, so you know, you can look at things any way you want to look at things. Honestly, that's the beauty and the challenge of the world. Is you're free to choose a perspective that you have. A lot of people default to perspectives that aren't helpful. Ooh, indecision is a question. What choice to make? Upright. This card marks the presence of 2 or more possible choices in your life. It shows you anxiously looking at 2 roads, wondering which would be the better choice. Yet, you are standing still, feeling confused by the up and down emotions of your present indecision. You could spend days, months, or even years in this back and forth energy, all the while feeling your focus and your life force energy draining away. This indecision creates a paralysis of will, one that can keep you stuck while you're waiting to be while you're waiting to be certain about the results of your choice. It's time to let go of the analysis and self-doubt that have been keeping you stuck. Meditate on your options and see where your spirit guides you. Consider which direction resonates with you most, both in the process and in the goal. Follow your heart and make the honoring choice. I love that it said make the honoring choice because that was literally the thing with this Angel of Balance. And I'm going to go back and read it again. I think it was number... What number was it? Ooh, don't tell me. Don't tell me. What number was it? Oh, what number was it? What number was it? 40? Was it 40? Was it 40? Let's see. Nope. Ah, what number are you? 48. It was 48. I remember there was like a 12 in there or something. because I was doing the 1, 2, 3. The angel of balance says self-honoring in your choices. Your choices honors who you are. That's that. So I love that this is the wind at our back, and this is the direct challenge, right? This is kind of sort of the polarity that they play. Whew. Self-honoring in your choices. But are y'all doing that though? The affirmation here is, I release fear and move forward with courage and trust. I have the power to direct my own destiny, now and always. Courage has been such a theme on this channel. I mean, it makes sense with all the big cats I've been dreaming about and seeing. But we have the Empress here. This is indecision, and we have 2 cards. Okay, let's see. I'm going to look at this card first, and then I'm going to show y'all. Ooh! Okay, all right. It's kind of sort of exactly what I was talking about. One of these cards is upright, and one of these cards is in reverse. So with the Empress is all about, I'm so excited. I'm just going to show y'all. The other one is the Star. You have the Star upright and the Empress in reverse, in the space of indecision. Now it's interesting because the Emperor down here is in reverse with this Queen of Cups. So this is Aries and Cancer energy. This is Venus and what's her face? What's her name? Aquarius. This is Venus and Aquarius energy. Now with Venus, oh my gosh, I love this. This is Venus and Aquarius energy. So Venus rules both Taurus and Libra. Now down here we have this Aries Cancer square. And then here we could either have an Aquarius Taurus square, or we could have an Aquarius Libra trine. Now Libra is the masculine side of Venus. And the masculine energy is all about going out and doing something. So this is automatically one of the messages that come off right off the top is, if you're just sitting in this passive, like if you're just wishing upon stars but not doing anything to actually make this happen, you're going to be wishing and wanting and waiting for a while. And this entry, it literally said that, and I'm going to read it again for those of y'all with short-term memory problems, like how I have sometimes. You could spend days, months, or even years in this back and forth energy, all the while feeling your focus and your life force energy draining away. This indecision creates a paralysis of will, one that will keep you stuck while you're waiting to be certain about the results of your choice. That Venus, that Taurian Venusian energy is you sort of sitting back waiting for something else to happen for you when you're just wishing upon stars, girl. If you're just wishing and you're not making anything happen, nothing will ever happen for you. Like the time of things just passively happening, I'm not going to say it's over, but we're in the space now where it's happening less, at least from my energetic standpoint. You have to get up and do something, right? And that's that masculine sort of Libra side of Venusian energy, right? Now, when it comes to Libra, they are actually cardinal. So that's interesting because they are cardinal. And cardinal energy is about putting something in motion. Fixed energy is about just sitting there, right? It's like you can't be fixed in this space, girl, before you even reach a space that you like. Like, it's like you're sitting in the middle of you step on poop and you keep your shoe in the poop, wanting to not be stepping in the poop, but if you stay stuck, if you stay fixed where your shoe is in the poop, your foot is always going to be on poop, right? You either need to mutable and move that foot, or you need to cardinal and move that foot. I love that I'm moving like a Taurus, kind of. I got Taurus in my chart, y'all. I know how this works. I've been like, and especially with Piscean energy, girl, Pisces and Taurus can be a very not good combination if that Piscean energy is not of a high vibration. Because low vibrational Pisces energy can get you to see it. Like low vibrational Pisces energy is a Pisces putting themselves in illusions that can be dark in nature. And then to have a fixed moon and rising, it's like I get stuck there. The mutable energy doesn't do what I need it to do. How do I do? What do I do? Those sound like you questions, Florinda. You are the only person that will know how and what you do. Poop in your hoof. Well, I don't know if cows necessarily mind too much, but Libra. I mean, I guess Venus would. But anyway, um, it's like with this star, like there have been lots of hopes and dreams, but with this, if we don't even go to that, it's like with this Empress energy in reverse. This is literally what I said. You're hoping and you're wishing with this star, but with the Empress in reverse, you're not doing anything to actually create it. And as long as you stop in those moments of waiting, and as long as you wait, you will be waiting. Right? As long as you wait, you're waiting. So you can't get tired of waiting. Like this is a very human thing. People will say, "Oh, I'm tired," and we already talked about divine timing. People will say, "Oh, I'm tired of waiting. I'm tired of waiting. I'm tired of waiting. I'm tired of waiting." But all you're doing is waiting. How are you tired? Like you can't be so tired of waiting that like all you do is wait. I would be tired of waiting too if all I did was wait. Like if all you're doing is waiting, then you're never doing anything but waiting. At some point, eventually, you're gonna have to get up and do something, right? It's like you're tired of waiting, but you're not so tired of waiting that you'll actually get up and do something, and that you'll actually get up and move. But apparently, you're tired of waiting, and then that's when you slip into this envy energy, where instead of you making anything happen for yourself, you'll just sit back and envy other people making stuff happen. And then again with this star, this kind of sort of covetous energy down here is like you'll wish for what someone else has instead of getting up and creating what it is that you actually have written for you. It's like, why are you reaching in someone else's pocket when you literally have the entire void of creation and potential to reach into? Like, and it kind of sort of in some ways requires the same amount of effort. But I guess the difference is you could be the type of person that operates mostly on what you see. And so you see what someone else has, you see what someone else is capable of, and so you covet that, right? And if you're focused more on the outside than the inside, you're going to be very limited. But anyway, that's what this is. And this is the challenge coming. So eventually you're going to reach this point where you have to make a decision. Not making a decision is making a decision. Waiting is inaction. Nothing is something, right? It's like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm not doing anything. But if you're doing nothing, that's still doing something. The lack of action is inaction, right? And so not making a decision is making a decision, right? It's like I could go left or I could go right, or you could stay where you are. And you staying where you are is you making a choice. Now, you better hope that, the seasons permitting, neither the left road or the right road will close, because you may find yourself in a position where you can't go left or right because you waited so long, and then you're just stuck at a dead end. What was a crossroad will turn into a dead end because you stopped and waited for so long. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I'm glad it's doing something for you, Clorinda. I feel like I'm a lot less nice on this channel. But sometimes things just like things need to be said how they need to be said. And I don't know. I kind of want to do this and then kind of want to do a little bit of this. I don't know why, but I mean, I guess it doesn't matter too much. But yeah, indecision is the challenge coming. And it's interesting because this indecision, it feels like a rock that you hit all the time. It's like this is a challenge that you've always faced. Because like usually when someone is in a moment of indecision, they're indecisive. I don't know how often decisive people face indecision. And I'm a person who has been very indecisive in the past as well. And I remember it was last summer when I was with my dude Nathan, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be more decisive. And he was like, oh, that sounds hard. Like, oh, like how do you just? I was like, you know what? It's not hard. Like, like being decisive is literally as easy as making a decision. It's literally that easy. Someone's like, oh, like, and that used to be me. Again, it used to be me. Like, oh man, I wish I were more decisive. And it's like it's literally as easy as making a choice. Now, there's a lot more behind it that doesn't make it that easy. But being decisive by definition is making a decision. It's that easy. I feel like we sometimes overcomplicate some things. Yeah. I mean, I'm the same. And so he would tease me. He was like, all right, Patrick, what do you want? And I was like, oh, I don't know. And he'd be like, oh, I thought you were decisive. I thought you were being decisive. I was like, okay, then this is what I'm getting. And I know he was kind of sort of teasing me and playing with me. But it honestly, it like that's that sort of like jovial, lighthearted accountability that helps me be more decisive. And so there was one day we met up and I was like, okay, since I'm being decisive, I'm gonna plan anything. I'm gonna plan everything and we're gonna do what I wanna do. And he was like, oh, okay. And it was fun. Even the part where I kind of sort of didn't know what we were gonna do because we kind of sort of finished the thing that I thought we were gonna spend a little more time doing a little bit earlier. But what I discovered that day while being decisive is it isn't necessarily about knowing exactly what to do at every given moment, but once you take that one step and then you take another step and then you take another step and another step and another step, eventually you'll know what like you're going to do, right? Cuz while we were walking places, we were still talking, right? I mean, honestly, it kind of was like, okay, let's sit and talk here, and then we'll walk somewhere else and sit and talk there, and then we'll just find something to do after that. And that was a really fun day, girl. That I mean, dude has like stories, and I'm just like, oof. I'm not the type of person that would tolerate some people, and so we're gonna see how we lay these out because I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know if I'm still dreaming. Well, from where I am, Clorinda, you appear to be awake. I'm like 99% sure I'm not dreaming, and I'm interacting with you right now. So I think it's safe to assume that you're not dreaming. But honestly, in reality, you could be. And I could be awake, and we could still be having this interaction. Because that's sort of the overlapping parallel nature of realities, it would seem sometimes. But yeah, and that's one thing that it's like I don't know if I'm saying this, it'll hit for somebody, right? And so that's why I don't necessarily mind just going with it. Um, I feel a weird sense. This is completely a joke, but I will say that if you feel like these really like hit, and you want to just cash at me $1, my cash app is listed in the description box. I also have a PayPal that I don't use because it's linked to a credit card that I don't use. But I guess I could put it down there. But yeah. Anyway, just a little joke, kinda. Some things I feel like, oh, darn it, the temple path. I thought this was the door to value for a second. The temple path is in reverse. So literally everything is in reverse except for indecision. Envy in reverse is amazing. The Angel of Balance in reverse is actually not as bad as one may think. I'm going to move this down though. We're going to start at the bottom. So before everything was in reverse, and this was upright. Now all of this is upright, and this is in reverse. So that's interesting. The temple path, girl, I've seen you recently. I'm not a stranger to you. It's number 12. Oh my gosh, this is the 12, and this is a 4812. Ah, it makes sense. You only have PayPal? It's fine. Don't worry about it. Maybe I will put my PayPal down there, though, just in case, you know. I didn't check in. It's fine. So, number 12. We have a 12 here. We have a 4812 here. We have a 21 here. We got 2, 2. Wow. A 2, a 2, a 10, and a 7. Well, 8. Oh my gosh, this is a 12. 7 plus 1 is 8, plus 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12. So we have a 12 here surrounded by a 12. Now, this would be 10, 17. This would be a 21, 12, right? 14 plus 7 is 21, which is a 3. Or if we do 7 plus the 1 here, plus the 2 plus the 2, it's 12. 21s and 12s, it's interesting. Put it on there, do it. Okay, I will. There are so many things where I'm just like, meh. Yeah, honestly, for me, I would say, I don't know who's all watching this, but if you want a reading from me at this time and place, I would say it's probably better to see if I just come on and read something similar to what you need. Because when it comes to personal readings right now, I'm honestly just not feeling them. Because I feel like whenever I do something personal, I try to, like, I don't know, it puts me in a different space. And that space is so congested right now with everything that's happening in the world that it's like there is so much potential for change. But at the same time, there's so much, um, I don't know, it's just a lot. So that's why I do a bunch of these collective thingies because it makes it easier, right? Rather than trying to focus in on one person's energy, it's like, okay, well, here's all the stuff that could go right, here's all the stuff that could go wrong. And honestly, both are a potential for you, so I don't know which one you're going to do. Anyway, the Temple Path in reverse. The Temple Path is spiritual purpose and support. Now, reversed, receiving this card reversed is a sign that you may have fallen off your path. You could be too focused on worldly possessions. Oh my gosh, thank you for that confirmation. So many confirmations. I would say if you watch this first, you probably don't have to watch the reading that I'm going to upload on my Legacy channel because it's like this, but it doesn't go as much in depth. But I guess this was for you, Clorinda, so glad to be of service. Plus, also, I can do it this way and not feel weird about, like, charging people. Receiving this card reversed is a sign that you may have fallen off your path. You could be too focused on worldly possessions and material gain, or you may simply be maintaining old, unhealthy habits of fear, limitation, worry, and doubt. Whatever is distracting you, receiving this card reversed is a firm message that it's time to make your spiritual life and evolution a much higher priority. Thank you again for the confirmation. Not doing so represents an important loss of power. Thank you again for the confirmation. So clear your mind, meditate, and open up to the presence of spirit. Whatever else you may have going on, consider this an important part of your personal and tactical plans. That's why strategy came out, those tactical plans. The support and inspiration of all eternity and countless loving spirits are available to you. Not turning to them is like cursing the dark when you refuse to turn on the lights. Thank you. Not turning to them is like cursing the dark when you refuse to turn on the lights. And that's what this envy energy was kind of sort of alluding to, but also a lot of other things. The affirmation here is, I open my heart to my spiritual truth and a deeper connection with spirit. Guidance and inspiration come freely and easily to me. Love it! So, we start with this little 4 and we end with this little 4. So we've done a whole counterclockwise little thing. Ooh, I love this. I love this. This the up here is like the sky above us. Now the sky above us could be a glass ceiling, a brick ceiling, the stars that we're reaching for. It could be anything, right? Light or dark. It could be daytime and it could be the sun, you know? I would though say that the sky above us is either the sun, the moon, or the stars. It's either the sun, the moon, or the stars. Um, with this being the spiritual, with this being the temple path in reverse, I'd say it probably isn't the sun, even though we have a little sun here. We have a big moon here. We have stars here. You know what? I'm not gonna say what this is. It's either the sun, the moon, the stars. It's just the sky. It's just the sky, right? If we take the sun, the moon, and the stars out of the sky, it'll still be the sky. It's not about focusing on what it is specifically. So here we have indecision as the oncoming challenge. Here we have a crossroads with the Two of Wands. Now, the wind at the back of the sky that we're looking at, right? The wind at the back of the sky is kind of sort of how the earth rotates and moves, right? And it's like depending on that rotation, we'll either see the sun or the moon. Even though the moon is like, wait, how does that work? Because the earth is revolving. Okay, that's why. But still, how does the sky work? 411. Oh snap. It is 111 here. Well, it's 112 now, but it was 111 here when it was 411 there. So you are a good 15 hours ahead of me. So it's like 3 hours and switch the AM to a PM. um, yeah, how does the sky work? Because when it's daytime, that means it means that we're facing the sun. The part of the world that we're on is facing the sun, and then it revolves around. Or is that a rotation or a revolution? I think the revolution is when we go around the sun, and the rotation is a day, because that's the Earth rotating on its axis. But that's why we have moon cycles. Okay, there we go. Night here still, daytime there. Exactly. Well, if you wait long enough, Clorinda, pretty soon it'll be daytime in both places. We'll both see the sun. Oh, wait, it's winter over there, though. I forget. So the sun may actually come up later over there. It's summer over here, so the sun starts to rise between 5 and 6 o'clock. Um, that's why we have moon cycles. Because when the moon is in the same place as the sun. No, it's confusing me. So if the moon is at the same place as the sun, then when it becomes nighttime, we won't see the moon because it's over here with the sun. I need to look that up because something about the earth and the moon and the sun isn't making sense to me. Right? Because like let's say that this bottle cap is the sun. Can we see this? Yeah, y'all can see that. That bottle cap is the sun. And then nope, we're doing this. I interrupt this reading for a brief period of whatever the F this is. This is the sun. This is the earth. No. This is the moon, and this is the earth. No, I don't know. Anyway, let's just continue. I mean, I know that is the eclipse, but the eclipse doesn't happen like that happens every now and then. And so, if this is the earth and this is the moon, and the moon is coming around the earth, and this is the sun, but the earth is spinning. I wish I had a marker. Oh my gosh, I have this. Okay. I got these icebreakers, right? And we'll say that this down here is where we are, right? Down here. So when this is facing the sun, it's daytime. And when it faces away, that's when we come to night. And then we come back and it's daytime again. So if it's a full moon, then it's nighttime. And the moon is opposite the sun. So since the moon is opposite the sun, it's getting all of that sunlight. Can we see this? It's getting all of the sunlight because it's opposite the sun and it's nighttime. Now, if it's nighttime, this is where I get confused because this is a full moon and this makes sense to me. The moon is on the opposite side of the earth as the sun, and so it gets all of this sunlight when it's dark. But if we have like a 3/4 moon, or if we get a moon that's closer to new, it's like we see the moon kind of sort of almost all night, but maybe we don't see the moon all night. And it's when we come closer to seeing the actual moon, then we'll see that, like, since, yeah, okay, all right, maybe that's it. I think that's it. Because I was assuming that the moon comes up and goes down at the same time every night. And that's like, I was like, well, then, like, how would there be different phases of the moon? Because then, like, when the moon is in the same space as the sun, we shouldn't see any moon at all. If this is nighttime and the moon is up here, we would only see the moon during the daytime. And that's when we get that solar eclipse. Okay, all right. I don't know if that was relevant to literally anything, and I would apologize for that, whatever that was, but I won't. So, thank you for participating in that little thought experiment with me. What does that have to do with this? Okay, let's talk about the temple path. The sun would be us on the path. The sun would be the path, the earth would be us, and then the moon would be sort of the environment around us. And again, if we're more focused on the outside than the inside, because that's what the temple path in reverse said. The temple path in reverse said we're more focused on material things than we are on the spiritual nature of things. Now, material things could just simply be the outside world. It doesn't necessarily have to be like cars and Jeeps. It doesn't have to be Jeeps and mansions, right? It could just be the world around us, the appearance of things. And so, okay, I kind of sort of love that. I kind of sort of love this. When we have that new moon, that's when the moon and the sun are conjunct. And so, that still kind of sort of in some ways doesn't make sense to me, though. But the thing about astrology is that with a lot of it, it's Earth centric. So it's about the viewpoint of the sky from Earth and not necessarily how everything is lined up around the sun. It's not heliocentric. I haven't gotten into heliocentric astrology yet, y'all, so, I know that it exists. I know that it is a thing. So that's that. And then when the sun and the moon actually line up, we have that eclipse. Okay, all right. I'm kind of sort of there. Anyway, the moon is the environment. And so our environment isn't necessarily always going to accurately reflect where we are on our spiritual path. Not necessarily always. When it does, it's really easy to follow the path. But when it doesn't, that's when we come into these moments of growth where it's more so about what we have on the outside, and it's not about it's what we have on the inside, and it's not about what we have on the outside to reflect that. And those are moments where our faith is tested and where it can grow stronger. Right? Okay. So, the wind of change at our back for this at the sky above. And again, it's like the winds of change for the sky is just like how the earth rotates on its axis and brings the night sky into view, and then it brings the sun into view. But there we have this sort of crossroads. This crossroads up here is giving me exactly this indecisive energy. Because this is waiting. We're waiting for the sky itself to turn instead of actually embarking on our own journey. Because the Two of Wands can be the beginning of a brand new journey, or it can be a crossroads. And it kind of sort of feels like this Two of Wands, being the winds of change, is asking us to look at the sun. Instead of waiting for the earth, okay, if we had the ability, instead of waiting for the earth to rotate on its axis, this is hop on a plane and go to where the sun is already out, right? If you had your own little personal aircraft or watercraft, I would say aircraft because you come upon land and water as you travel across the earth, right? Let's say you were in a hot air balloon that just followed the currents. If you were in that hot air balloon, if it moved quick enough, it's possible that you could experience a week of sunlight because your balloon follows the sun. That would be the Two of Wands, you deciding to go, instead of the Two of Wands crossroads, you waiting for that path to be open. Now, cycles and seasons are very important, so I'm not telling anybody to get stuck in one particular thing, but I think the thing here is just realizing that if you wanted to, you could exert your own will to make it so that you're always sort of on track, always on the path, going where you want to go. Now, the ground that this is standing on is the High Priestess. So, the High Priestess is my You Already Know card. And it's interesting because the Queen of Cups, oh, and look, they're touching. Y'all see that? Down here. Y'all probably don't see these. Got it. Okay, good. I know I was really late on that, but got it. The High Priestess has like the whole picture. The Queen of Cups has a piece of it. It's like the Queen of Cups is a novice on the journey of the High Priestess. And she can be a novice for any number of reasons. But this is the master. This is the pro. The High Priestess is the professional. The High Priestess is who the Queen of Cups wants to be. But the thing about the Queen of Cups and the High Priestess is, in some ways, the High Priestess knows too much. And the Queen of Cups knows enough, but she's also able to keep her heart intact. By that I mean, if you knew everything that was going to happen in your life, it would take the joy out of life. Part of the joy of life is not knowing what's going to happen the next day, right? Being pleasantly surprised, right? Oh, that worked out better than I thought. Oh, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was, right? Part of that, all of that, even the downs, right? It's all relative. The downs in life help us appreciate the ups, and the High Priestess knows all the ups and all the downs, so she kind of just she's just like, man, she mans her ways through life. She's that cool cucumber Capricorn. Man, I miss my family. It's fine. Um, is that weird for me to say? I don't know. You'll have to let me know in the comments down below if that's weird for me to say. If it is weird, I kind of sort of still feel the same. So, hey, it is what it is. Um, anyway, now I'm going to get sad. Ugh, what is this? Not sad. Right. I already talked about it here. It's not about being sad for whatever happened. It's about looking forward to the future and all of the amazing, wonderful times that are still yet to come. So just transmuted that. All right, I'm back. I'm back now, y'all. This High Priestess is the ground that we stand on. So I feel like this is saying that we know everything that we need to know about the situation. If we knew everything, it would take the fun out of the journey. It wouldn't be a journey if we knew everything. It wouldn't. Right? That's like the temple path. We're not supposed to know exactly where it leads or exactly where it goes. It's like we know enough. We're connected enough to know what our next step is. And that's what this energy is. I feel like indecision with the star and the empress can kind of sort of come in because the star is something that is in the sky. The star is something that is very far out. Not at all. Okay. Clorinda said it's not weird. Thank you, Clorinda, for the confirmation. Like, I feel like it isn't weird, but a part of me is still like, it's weird because that's stuff that I need to let go. Um, And I haven't said it yet, but Mercury is officially direct. It's still in Cancer. It's like 5 degrees Cancer. So it's going to hit my Mars again, which is fine. Um, this will be the third time Mercury hits my Mars this year. And Mars is squaring my Mars. So Mars is going to be squaring my Mars, and Mercury is going to be conjuncting my Mars, and the Sun is going to be. The Sun is in Cancer, but it's separating from my Mars, so that's not conjuncting my Mars anymore. Anyway, lots of Mars, Mercury interactions in my chart right now, which is. I feel like all of that would give me the drive to say the things that I want to say. The Sun is actually trining my Mercury right now. Because I think my Mercury is like. Hold up, wait. I think my Mercury is like 24 degrees Pisces, and the Sun is like 20 degrees Cancer. It doesn't matter. I'm going off track again. It ain't about me. But I mean, we do have Cancerian energy here with the High Priestess, so it's still relevant. Maybe look at your transiting chart right now, just to see what energies you have sort of playing around, bouncing around. I don't know how I feel about astrology anymore, but it may be worth looking into for you. But the ground that we stand on, the temple path and the ground that we stand on. The ground that we stand on is interesting because for the sky, the ground of the sky is still above our heads. The ceiling of the sky of the sky, that's when you get into like the area of the divine, that's the cosmos. So I guess the ground of the sky is the part that we actually see. And the sky of the sky is the part that's so far out that, we need telescopes to see into it. But the beautiful thing about the sky above the sky is that when it's not cloudy outside in the nighttime, we actually see the sky above the sky. It's the stars. So maybe we have the sun, the moon, and the stars all here at the same time. And that's why we have a sun here, we have a moon here, and we got 2 stars there. The moon actually is the biggest thing. I'd say the sun and the stars are about the same size, and the sun is a star. So, Anyway. So from what we can see of this sky, we know enough. And if we walk therein, we will be guided to all of the stars above us. And it's like, I love this Wheel of Fortune because it's like we form constellations out of the stars. And you see in this Wheel of Fortune that all of the stars are connected to this one big star. That could be the solar system. There's 10 planets in a birth chart. So, hey, maybe look at your birth chart. I don't know. But we can see how all the stars sort of like line up and they form this constellation in the sky that is this circle, right? A circle is something that is all encompassing. When it comes to a circle, there is no start and there is no end, right? It brings everything back and it wraps it all upon each other. It wraps it all upon itself. And I think the thing with the circle here in this temple path is even when we're not on the path, even when we've strayed from the temple path, we're still on the temple path. There is no off path. There is no off course. In some ways, there is no redirection and there is no misdirection because it's all. And see, that's the thing about time, though. It's all unilateral. Now, if we actually looked at it, right, if we had the ability to take that upper divine or that upper dimensional view of it, then we would see that it's not all linear, but from our human experience, it's all linear. And so when everything is linear, there is no off the path. Especially if we end up at the sun by the end of the day, right? But at the same time, if we don't end up at the sun, maybe it wasn't our path to get there in this lifetime. So we're still on path, right? It's one of those little interesting thought theories, little thought experiments. It's an interesting little thought experiment. And so it's like, oh, okay, it's like this. This is where we're going to start. We're going to start here. Oh, the Ace of Swords, confirmation. So we have the Ace of Swords, and then we have either the Hermit or the Three of Wands is our next point. And let's say with this Ace of Swords, we don't quite understand it. We don't yet feel comfortable enough moving. So we come to the Hermit, and the Hermit falls on our path. And this Three of Wands gets lost back in the shuffle. And so now we come to the next spot, and we have either the Five of Cups or we have this Four of Pentacles. And let's say with this Hermit energy, for whatever reason, we're not quite yet ready to move on from whatever we need to move on from the past. So we choose the Four of Pentacles. And we shuffle this up again. And then we have either the Four of Cups or the Knight of Wands. And we're already going with the Four of Cups. This one is a no-brainer. We're going for the 44. So this one was pretty sort of obvious, right? But you can see how we have all these nodes on the path. The Queen of Wands or the Four of Swords, 444. Sorry, Queen of Wands. Sorry, Knight of Wands. But you see we had this opportunity. This is kind of sort of like how misery loves company. And whenever we get stuck in a space as humans, we kind of sort of stay in that space. We had the opportunity to branch off of this path, go from a Knight of Wands to a Queen of Wands. So that would have been immediate sort of like upgrading in the court system, but 444 we kind of sort of choose to get stuck here. So in a lateral way, in human experience, the path is straightforward. You know, eventually if I keep going through the cards, I'm going to come back to the cards that have already come out. So it's not necessarily a matter of like whatever, it's when we get to them. But what I'm just trying to illuminate and illustrate here is that from a human perspective, it's all lateral. There's only one path. But on the different perspective, we saw the different options that these had. Were all of these on the bottom? Were all of these on the bottom? Did I choose the bottom choice every single time? Or was the Four of Pentacles up top? I don't know. I don't remember. You'll have to rewind it back, or you'll have to tell me I already forgot. But you see how like the temple path is always straight. There's never off the path. But if you take that higher dimensional perspective, you'd be able to see the different choices and different options. And so it's like in reality, yes, there are many sort of different roads that you can take. But in practice, we only live one path. So the challenge oncoming is the Seven of Wands in reverse. Now, the Seven of Wands in reverse is interesting because the Seven of Wands, as it is, again, it's that hare and the tortoise and the hare story. But the Seven of Wands in reverse can be the energy of the hare that actually wins the race. This is the hare that's still running the race as if it doesn't as if it doesn't know that it'll win anyway. In the story, the hare only lost the race because it knew it would win. It knew it would win the race, and so it got lazy and it went to sleep. And then the tortoise ended up winning the race. And how long was the hare asleep if the tortoise won the race, right? It's like even if you would have took a 5 or 10 minute nap, that should have given you enough time. But if you sleep for like 3 days, then yeah, of course you're gonna lose the race. But anyway, this is the hare that keeps running, even though you're already in the space of advantage. You keep running. And this is the challenge coming ahead. The challenge is staying on the path once you get back on the path. The challenge is realizing with this little sun here, the challenge is realizing seeing the path. With this moon, with the moon being the biggest card here, and with this being the temple path related to life, we don't always know for sure what the end goal is or what the next step is. So we're operating at nighttime because the biggest thing is the star. I love this. The biggest thing in the sky is the moon and the stars. We talked about the constellation here. This Seven of Wands with the sun here, this is the Big Dipper. This is the North Star. We don't need for it to be bright outside. We don't need for the sun to be out, but as long as we know how to read the stars and as long as we trust ourselves and we trust the stars and we follow them, we'll always know where north is. And if we can orient ourselves north, we know what east, south, and west is too, right? We don't need it to be daylight in order to navigate this path. And that's what all of this is getting us to understand. All of this is getting us to go within, to stop looking outside of ourselves and to trust the North Star to get us to the direction that we want to go. Right? It's about us learning to navigate the darkness. And I love that. I love it. I love it. But that's the challenge sort of coming ahead. It's actually doing this navigation. Oof. Okay. King of Pentacles is at the bottom of the deck. How did the King of Pentacles get down here? It was just the Queen of Wands. Where did the Queen of Wands go? What's this? The Eight of Cups? No, the Seven of Cups with that moon up there. So even the Seven of Wands or the Seven of Cups. With Wands, either you'll make the actions and go towards the sun, or with Cups, you'll just sort of sit back and dream about it and be lost in little, Pisces land. But even though that is a Scorpio card, you'll be lost in Pisces land. So I'm going to pull. Well, this deck, I have to split in half to get it back into its boxes. So there's that Four of Wands. Every time I've seen it, it's been in reverse. It's always been upright for me, though, but it's in reverse for y'all. So it's about taking your own perspective. And then there's that Six of Wands in reverse. Okay. We're just going to split this. We ain't even going to cut it. We're going to split it. Make sure. So you can choose left or right. And then I'll move down to the energy oracles while y'all are deciding left and right. And I'm going to get a final card from here. I low-key feel a little hype, y'all. Oh, the Broken Heart. It's in reverse for me. But is that upright for y'all? Oh, it's in reverse for y'all. Nice. Broken Heart in reverse. And then, is this Contract upright? So with Broken Heart in reverse and Contract upright, I would say that whatever time of heart, like, you've already fulfilled that contract. I know some people say, like, we're breaking contracts and stuff. I'm more so feeling it as that contract has already been fulfilled. Now, you can choose to renew that contract and, keep breaking your own heart. Or you can choose to seek something out that's more sort of fitting what you actually want. And that's what all this was about again. Us, coming from that space of self-love, making decisions and choices that actually honor us. This is us honoring us for the choices that we make. And, I know sometimes some people would feel that, if you make the choice that... This is my own personal opinion. I'm going to inject my own personal opinion, high key right here, because I've heard it said, and there's a lot of stuff that I'm holding my tongue on because I appreciate and understand that journeys are journeys. And I know that if I say certain things, it could diminish and lessen the impact of some decisions that need to be made. Now, on one hand, I don't necessarily feel bad for trying to lessen the blow, lessen the height of the wall that someone needs to climb or jump or scale. But on the other hand, it's like I don't want to diminish that either. So, with all of this being said, if you are the type of person, and you should know if I'm talking to you or not, maybe you do, maybe you don't listen to this if you're not supposed to hear this. I'm going to say if you made it this far in the video, this may be for you. I'm going to say it regardless. Actually, I've talked so long that I forgot what I was going to say. So, never mind. No, wait. Are these cards going to remind me? The Man Holding a Heart and Deceit. Both of these are upright. Deceit and the Man Holding a Heart. Okay, so it's bringing it back to mind, and I'm gonna talk about it. Yes. Okay, all right. That's what I was gonna talk about. If this ain't for you, don't listen. Also, if this is for you, listen. I think honestly this goes both ways, so probably listen to this. Now, I have a very interesting take on this. I am of the firm belief that relationships. Like, a relationship is a two-way street. Now, if you are someone who practices polyamory or polygamy or polyandry or whatever, then it can be a highway with multiple streets, right? Multiple directions. Now, I don't know how that works in a realistic sense, but if y'all find a way to make it work. Oh, overpass, underpass. Boom. It's that easy. You have the overpass where you get this direction, and then you have the underpass where you get this direction. So boom, you get all four directions in one little area, as long as y'all set it up in a way that works for y'all. Okay, there. No judgment. Anyway, a relationship is a two-way street. And if one person is ready for the relationship, but the other person is not ready for the relationship, in my mind, in my perspective, there shouldn't be any bad blood there. If one person wants the relationship and the other person doesn't want the relationship, same thing. You have two people in different spaces, and it's not for one to feel any ownership or right to have somebody else. I've never been that type of person. I personally don't feel that way. But there are some people who, in their own affections, will feel entitled to somebody else, which is fine. Um, and so it's my personal belief that, let's say if I found myself in a situation where I was interested in somebody else, but they weren't interested in me, but time passes and then they find themselves interested in me, I wouldn't necessarily feel some type of way, right? Because life happens. Like, right? When I was a kid, I didn't like vegetables, but I like vegetables now. Should I not eat vegetables because I didn't like them when I was a kid? Like, no, right? As long as the veggies don't mind being eaten and I want to eat them, then it is what it is. Like, if you want this now and if I still want this, we can still make it work. I don't necessarily feel it's selfish on someone else's part if they want to come back now. Now, I will say that, the motivations need to be right, of course. But if it's like genuine interest, then it's like, I don't know, like if the time wasn't right in the past, the time wasn't right. Some people would say it's selfish for someone else to come back when they've done all the healing and all the growth that they needed to do. It's like, oh, now you're selfish. But it's selfish of you in the beginning to not want them to do that growth and healing and to want them. Like, right, it's like you can claim selfishness on both parts of the situation is all of that I have to say. And as long as both people are still wanting it and are willing to work together to make something, then it was just a matter of timing, right? And the person who was away doesn't have to beat themselves up, and the person who stayed doesn't need to form some kind of complex. Because in reality, like, what were you doing while things were happening? I don't know. And that's all I got to say. That's all I had to say about that. That's all I had to say about that. Check your entitlement, right? And things may not necessarily be that bad. But, we always get to decide, hey, you didn't want me the first go around, you lost me. And that's perfectly legitimate and that's perfectly fine, right? It's different for everybody. But I don't necessarily think it's fair to say, oh, like, because ultimately at the end of the day, sometimes people just aren't ready for that level of commitment. Or they're not. Like, they don't see the value, and it's maybe for them to go through some experiences where they can see what they actually want, because we all grow and we all heal and no one is perfect, and we need to be accommodating for that. So you are still choosing left or right, by the way, and I want one card to wrap this up. That's all. I had some feelings about that, so I said something. The card that came out upright for you is All Tied Up. It's All Tied Up. All Tied Up came out upright for y'all. This is number 23, which is a 5. On the bottom of the deck is this strategy. On the bottom of the deck is strategy. Strategy and All Tied Up. Now, one of my personal faves, it's in reverse now. It was upright. I'll put it in reverse. One of my personal faves would say someone is strategizing a way to free themselves and come to you. And I say that with all love. I honestly do. So much love. Anyway, we're moving forward. Number 23, All Tied Up, upright. And this is funny because I actually got I Ching number 30. So, Clarinda, if you want to pull out your little deck and go to number 30, it's very interesting because number 30 is attachment. And when I got 30 attachment, I'm actually going to read that first. Now, I'm going to read All Tied Up first. And if I remember to go back to attachment, then I'll go back to attachment. That's how that's going to work. It was a lot better than I thought it was. It was different than I thought it would be when I first read attachment. I assumed it would be bad. So, All Tied Up. Hold up, wait. Why am I on the garden and the gate? What number is this? 23. Why was I going for number 30? I don't know. All Tied Up, All Tied Up, All Tied Up, All Tied Up, All Tied Up. Here it is. All Tied Up. This is lack of motion or a sense of personal freedom, which was that indecision that we came across. Upright, this card shows a woman tied up with vines around her wrists, body, and arms. Receiving this card upright represents a situation in your life where things seem to be severely stuck. Seem to be. Seem being the operative word. I say looking at my webcam that isn't even on. Honestly, what do I look like today? I don't know. I look like whatever I look like, y'all. Hi! Oh, whoop, whoop. Hi, hello, and welcome. This is me today. I ain't showered yet, y'all, but I will be doing that soon. I might eat first and then shower. I'm not a messy eater, but if I do get food on myself for whatever reason, I would hate it to be after I shower and change clothes. So I'm gonna eat first. Just in case, and I may spill something on me. 4:44 a.m. Oh snap. So, a major drama may be going on around you, stopping you from moving forward, or it may be that some technicalities are blocking your way. Perhaps you are waiting for a contract to be signed or an agreement to be made, and contract just came out upright with a broken heart in reverse. So again, that was a fulfillment of the contract. We already had the world card, as in all of the karmic stuff has already been put to a completion. So again, I'm feeling it less as breaking a contract and more as like choosing not to renew a contract. Choosing whether you want to renew a contract or not. Now, when you renew a contract, you have the opportunity to negotiate it. So you could be renegotiating a renewal of a contract at the same time. Okay? So, or it may be that some technicalities are blocking your way. Perhaps you're waiting for a contract to be signed or an agreement to be made. Whatever is holding things up, the restrictions may be feeling quite oppressive at this time. If this isn't technically the case for you, what's tying you up is your own personal stuff. Look at your life and see how you can be your own jailer. Are you tying yourself up in some emotional angst or in a negative habit that you refuse to deal with? If so, it's time to cut the vines and make some serious changes now. You needn't live in your self-imposed jail any longer. So freedom is yours if you care to claim it, and strategy is at the bottom of the deck. So honestly, I feel like it won't require too much strategy in reality, but mentally, if it's a mental prison, it would, right? And that's the thing about mental prisons, is they're always, a mental prison is seldomly as oppressive as we make it out to be. Sometimes the hardest thing that we need to do is escape our own mind, and then we find, oh, things are actually not that bad on the outside. So I understand the whole strategizing thing, but you may sort of escape and then find out that it isn't even necessarily necessary. The affirmation here is, I release stuck energy, old habits, and restrictions. My life is opening up. I am free to choose my reality. Lots of release sort of coming up. Now I'm going to read I Ching number 30, which is attachment. And I love attachment. And I'm still on it because I just read it. Number 30, this is emotional attachment and clinging. You are clinging on emotionally. You hope you can depend or rely on one who you have attached yourself emotionally to. Yet, for the matter at hand, clinging is auspicious. Nurturing and caring for the fertile cow will bring prosperity. Through you, wait, what? Though you cling, do persevere. You must burn with fire. Here we go. You must burn with fire from within. Hold up. I'm going to start all over because I need to flip this so I can actually read it. It's so small on my screen. Boom. There we go. There we go. You are clinging on emotionally. You hope you can depend or rely on one who you have attached yourself emotionally to. Yet, for the matter at hand, clinging is auspicious. Nurturing and caring for the fertile cow will bring prosperity. Though you cling, do persevere. You must burn with fire from within and not rely on the external burning of fire. The luminous fire must start from within and burn outward. Clinging and emotional attachment is auspicious if the inner fire itself burns bright. Now, the inner fire burning brighter than the external fire is all about the internal knowing that we have. And not only the internal knowing, but the alignment with, it's like knowing an alignment. And to keep the fire going, there are certain things that we need to do to tend to the fire. So if you are tending to your internal fire, then it's okay. If you're not tending to your internal fire, if you are seeking external confirmation more than the stuff on the inside, if you need to tell me whatever you think you need me to tell you to get you to continue to make whatever decision you think is yours to make, it is okay to need confirmation sometimes, but sometimes that in and of itself is message enough, right? I don't necessarily need anybody on the outside to tell me what I need to know, and I never have. And honestly, it's interesting because whenever people sort of offer their, like, I already within myself know. And it's been opportunities of just like being like, no, like, it's interesting because it is stubborn, but at the same time, it's like, when you know, right? I don't know. I don't know. Also, I've been finding out or discovering, and again, it's not to say that situations and circumstances are so complex. It is okay to need external confirmation and it is okay to need external validation, but eventually you should reach the point where you know for yourself, where you don't need it to constantly be affirmed and validated. And I understand that there are moments and there are times when we sort of doubt and where it's human to doubt. But in those moments of doubt, we are also introducing delay into the manifestation. And if we can assure ourselves, then it reduces the delay that was introduced a little bit more than if we need that external confirmation. Because when we go outside of ourselves to confirm something, what it does is it shows a lack of trust. I feel like I can't make it make sense. It's like either way you do it is fine. It's the temple path. Go back and see the temple path. I don't have time. So either you've chosen left or right. On the right side, we have the Two of Swords upright and the Six of Wands in the bottom, at the bottom, both upright. I feel like the Two of Swords and the Six of Wands at the bottom of this deck, it means whichever choice, whichever decision you choose, you're going to find victory in. You're going to find victory no matter what you choose. But I will clarify that victory does not always mean a favorable outcome. Victory being whatever you choose to put your faith in will come to be. So I'm not saying if you're full of doubt, if you're full of worry, if you're full of fear, and if you're full of anxiety, and you act out of those doubts, fears, and worries and anxieties, you'll find out that you had nothing to fear. That's not necessarily what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if you choose to believe in a bad outcome, you're going to get that bad outcome. If you choose to believe in a good outcome, you're going to get that good outcome. And if your actions and your heart align with it, then you'll get that. So it's not like I'm going to ignore all of my problems and then just proceed like I have no hangups and hope for the best. If that's what you choose to do, don't come back at me talking about you said this and it didn't work. And nobody does that. But don't feel that way either. Don't be like, well, I did this and I did that and it didn't work. And you said that if I chose this, then I would get victory. It's like, well, you also have to be aligned to it. What's your heart say about it? What's your mind say about it? Your mind beyond just, the part of you that's making the decision, right? What do you actually think and feel? And then does that align with what you want? Does that align with the decision that you're making? And it's a lot easier for people to align to things that they don't actually want. And that's why a lot of people end up manifesting things that they don't want, right? But as long as we refuse to see that we're manifesting the things that we don't want, as well as the things that we do want, we are having our own power. You are reducing your power if you refuse to acknowledge the fact that you've manifested all the things that you don't want. You're reducing your power because that's what you've done, right? When you can accept it, then you sort of learn to control it better, and then you get to where you actually want to be. Anyway, over here, wow, we have the World card in reverse, and the bottom of the deck is the Five of Wands in reverse. With the World card in reverse, I'm almost tempted to say this isn't necessarily bad. The King of Wands is upright at the cut. I don't think the World card in reverse is necessarily bad all the time. Sometimes the World card in reverse can speak to cycles that we thought were over, but we are sort of... Okay, remember how earlier I said that sometimes we keep ourselves in old situations, with the challenge being the Six of Cups and the wind at the back being the World upright? It's like we've already closed out this scenario and we've already closed out this situation. Let me stop. Okay, I stopped. I held my tongue. I held my tongue. But if it's meant to come back, it'll come back in a later chapter, right? It's like, don't keep yourself from closing this chapter because you think that you're going to shut somebody out. If that person is meant to come back, they will be rewritten into the story at a later date on another page, right? And so with that World card in reverse, it could be that once... how do I say this? Because you're still closing the chapter. The chapter is over. With the World card in reverse, this could be a chapter that you've closed, but you're now going to be revisiting. And it's interesting because Mercury is direct now, but we still have a lot of other planets in retrograde, including Saturn and Jupiter. Jupiter, the planet of opportunity, Saturn, the planet of karma. So you could be revisiting certain opportunities still. Now both Saturn and Jupiter are in Capricorn. Capricorn is cardinal earth energy, which speaks to the foundations of something that will last a lifetime. Now that Mercury is direct, it's still in its post shadow, so whatever. But now that Mercury is direct, it's almost like the communication is going to be clearer. And before Mercury went retrograde, Saturn was still in Aquarius. But now we have Saturn and Jupiter and Pluto all in Capricorn. Again, we've seen them all in Capricorn before at the beginning of the year, right? So maybe there was something that kind of started at the beginning of the year that... not the beginning of the year necessarily. Well, we did have that eclipse in January. We had a lunar eclipse in January. So yeah, maybe there was something... was that right before? Let me actually go back. I think it was January 11th. It was either the 9th or the 11th. Actually, I'm not going to go back because it's not that important. It is important, but it's not that important. Anyway, we could be revisiting something, right? 21 is Saturn. I think the world is ruled by Saturn. And now Saturn is back in Capricorn, which is an Earth sign, which is interesting because, you know, the world, Earth. The world is Earth. Anyway, it's like now that Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto are back in Capricorn, Mercury is direct, communication is clear, Mars is direct right now, we have the action, Venus is direct right now. It's like all of the inner planets, all of the most personal planets, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, the closest three to the Earth, they're all direct. Now, from Uranus is still direct, so that's the planet of change. But Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto are all still retrograde. Now, Mars will be retrograding at whatever time it retrogrades. But anyway, I'm saying all of this to say that we could be revisiting something that didn't necessarily work out in the past. But if we've done everything that we've needed to do within ourselves, to whatever degree we need to do it to, then this could be the space and the time for us to resume, to pick back up, or to continue. Also, we're going to be coming into a Mayan New Year here on the 26th, which is the Blue Lunar Storm. I've heard thunder like every day for the past week, and it's only actually rained a few days. Like, I'll hear thunder on days, and then it won't even rain. One day I was sitting out on the porch, and it started to thunder, but it sounded like this may be weird, but it sounded like somebody was moving something in heaven. Like, it sounded like somebody was moving something, but it was thunder. And I say in heaven because, it's in the heavens, right? In the sky. It sounded like somebody was moving something in the sky. And the thunder was like if if you're dragging something on a carpet or something, and sometimes you may hear it like that. It sounded like somebody was moving something in the sky. Okay, that's what the thunder sounded like when I was sitting on the porch. And I was legitimately confused because I was like, is somebody moving something somewhere? Like, what is that? But it was thunder. And we know that the wheel is turning. We know that large shifts have happened. The visual that comes to mind is Santa Claus. His bag is exceptionally heavy, and he's struggling to get it to the sleigh. And nothing is going to be damaged, but like some of the boxes in the sack are kind of sort of moving around because he's like really like struggling to get the sack to the sleigh. But once the sack is on the sleigh, Santa can just deliver, right? There's a lot of things up there. A lot of things are shifting and moving. And it's also funny that I felt like the sky was moving, or something within the sky was moving. And that's what I was talking about when the winds of change at the sky is how the world turns. And what we see in the sky kind of sort of shifts and change as the earth rotates. And the rotation is that's a wheel. Wheels rotate, right? And the wheel was there too. So, and now my left foot is doing this weird little pulsing thingy that it does sometimes. So I might take it outside and put it on the earth. Oh, my phone is ringing. My phone was ringing on the bed. I'm like, wait, that almost feels like my phone is ringing. But I literally only feel it in my left foot. I only felt it in my left foot, but my phone was ringing. So maybe you'll be getting some kind of contact right now. What's the left foot in the Mayan? I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to shut this down here, y'all. I'm going to upload this video to my Legacy channel. It's basically a lot of what I was talking about here, but not as in depth, not as in detail. Anyway, I'm going to shut this down. Clarinda, I hope you're asleep. I hope you have a lovely night and that you actually get to sleep. For the rest of us, where it's not nighttime, or whatever time it is right now when you're watching this, I hope you have a great of it. And I will catch y'all later. I'm going to go to the restroom, TMI, eat, and then shower. Actually, I might wash my hair today. Or maybe tomorrow. It's fairly tangle free, so I could just go ahead and watch it today. Anyway, I know that y'all don't necessarily care, but I'll catch y'all later. Bye.